So good evening, everyone, and welcome to Straight Science. Straight Science is coming to you live tonight from Northwest Campus, so we're going to try to figure this out the best we can. And UAF Northwest Campus and UAF Alaska Sea Grant put on Straight Science. Both of us are public servants of the Bering Strait region, which is the homeland and waters of the Inupiaq, Yupik, and St. Lawrence Island Yupik peoples. So tonight's speaker, we have two speakers tonight, and they're local. It's a very interesting night in Nome. It's beautiful and sunny, and we've just had the top four Iditarod racers just cross the line, so bear with us. And Bonnie and Doug Scheele are not only students here at the UAF Northwest Campus High Latitude Range Management Program, they also own and operate the Midnite Sun Reindeer Ranch just outside of town. And they are both high latitude range management students. So we're going to start off with Bonnie Scheele and then follow up with her husband, Doug Scheele. And with that, I think I need to give you my computer, maybe. Do you not? You didn't come with a computer. People won't be able to see your face.
Mm-hmm. We didn't bring a computer.
All right. Note to self. With that, they are going to talk about their cultural exchange over to Norway and Finland. And I'm just wondering how we're going to do this. But let's get the show on the road. Bonnie, are you going to start off?
Sure.
Okay. With that, maybe I'll just let you go. If you start getting chats, I'm going to take the computer away and answer them, but you can, so people can see you. There you go. There's Bonnie Scheele and Doug Scheele. Take it away. Thank you so much for talking to us about reindeer and your cultural exchange.
Awesome. Thank you. We're really honored to be here. So we have been doing reindeer herding for quite a number of years. My parents were reindeer herders, Lawrence and Bruce and Ann Davis, and then my grandparents, Larry and Mary Ann, were reindeer herders. And then recently I found out that my great grandfather, Elmer Davis, started out as a company reindeer herder. So it's been in our family for quite a little while, and then we're raising the next generation of reindeer herders. So back in September and October, there was an announcement made that the World Reindeer Herders Association was having their annual meeting in Katakenyo, and the opportunity came around for us to possibly attend that. And as the HLRM programs here through the UAF Northwest Campus. And so an announcement was made, and students were encouraged to find out if it worked for the schedule to go, and who was ready to actually participate in that kind of an opportunity. So I was recently hired as the HLRM program assistant, and so I went as staff, and then Douglas, he got to go as a student. And really the focus of that trip was to make it the first one and not the only one. So we wanted to come back and share with you all of that experience over there. So maybe you can press play. So here we have the slideshow that we made of what happened. So this is out of LA. And we got to go from LA to Helsinki, and then from Helsinki to Ivalo. And then right off the plane, you are inundated with safaris and reindeer, just straight from the plane. And that really impressed us because we see the massive potential here, being reindeer herders, to have reindeer cultural at the forefront of what we are as Alaska Indigenous, Alaska Native. So to actually witness reindeer immediately was an amazing example. We met up with Jackie Harebach, who's the HLRM faculty. And we were coordinated 18 days in Finland and 3 days, or 15 days in Finland and 3 days in Norway. And 3 days in Norway were for the Reindeer Herders Association meeting, the annual meeting. And we jam-packed with learning about how the indigenous in Finland and Norway, who are the Sami, have handled changing times. And they have, first and foremost, is their culture and sharing their culture through tourism and also through food, which combines all of us. And we were able to, as the pictures show, just really see how they push reindeer as a culture. And then a few slides here in the food that is made at a really premium for reindeer. So most of all the dishes you'll see in the slideshow are reindeer dishes.
And it's not just in a few places. We're talking every hotel, every restaurant. There's always going to be a quality reindeer dish that's available for you to try. And usually it's more than one. It's usually maybe 2, 3, 4 dishes that are made with reindeer. It's truly amazing experience.
Yep. And then Jackie has been part of the Sami Education Institute out of Finland for at least 11 years, teaching over there. And so this was an opportunity for us to go to the Institute and meet with people that have come to Alaska, the Sami people, friends that we've made over since 2013, to get to see their home and how they herd reindeer. So that was pretty exciting. We got to drive everywhere. That is like the main mode of transportation is driving, which in Alaska it's so unusual because we fly everywhere. There is a fair amount of driving, but not like over in Finland and Norway. And then just seeing the different areas, how it's all connected through the roadways, and then how it's connected for impact with the reindeer grazing ranges. So those were huge to take note of how that is impactful.
And just getting off the plane in Navajo and heading up towards Inari, seeing Lake Inari, seeing the tourism opportunities that are all around you all the time. Everything is tied to reindeer, being outside, fishing industry. There's just a tremendous amount of tourism that is offered. And the more you drive around in northern Finland and Norway area, you start to see a few of the border fences for the reindeer cooperatives, and the maps of Finland really start to make sense because you can actually tell where a family's cooperative starts and the next family's begins. So.
Yep, and then so the video now playing is through Karjok, which is in Norway, and I can't remember the name. Sorry, that one's escaping me, but they have a base there for their Sami people for their reindeer parliament. And so we drove through there on our way to Kaptikanio. And I think one of the biggest impacts also that really affected us with our experience over there was the tourism took place also in the wintertime, in the springtime, the summertime. There was always some kind of activity that was included. So it didn't really matter what time of year, reindeer was always an element for tourism. And then it wasn't just reindeer, there's a huge amount of fishing. So if you're a fishing person, I highly recommend looking into that as a possibility for the lake fishing that they have over there.
And the tourism that we noticed is completely set up. We're not talking just one demographic coming there. There's people from all over the world that are visiting this area to see the reindeer husbandry in action.
And part of the Sami Education Institute out of Finland is taking those elements of different levels of tourism through to really push as indigenous culture to really show off what has made them Sami for all these hundreds of years, and to showcase the best and how they have used sustainability to keep going with their culture.
Absolutely. Yep, the Norwegian government, the Finland government, they are behind the reindeer. It's subsidized. It's truly amazing the difference that is over there as far as the way that the entire country is into promoting tourism.
Mhm.
It's amazing.
Yep. There was this in the video coming up. Pause here for just a minute. I don't know if we could turn it down maybe from here. Turn it down to half. That'll work. This was a food lab created by the Norwegian Sami to showcase lahu. And that is just one of the main buildings that Sami meet and use for functions or just for family, depending on the type of event. And in this one, they just really wanted to showcase reindeer and the types of reindeer that you can eat.
This particular lahu was put together in a modular form, so they're actually able to take it apart, take the kitchen apart, and they're actually able to move it to different locations, put the whole thing back together. It's got fan systems for the fire pit that's in the middle, and it is set up to cater to probably, I don't know, inside there, what, 75 people comfortably, benches all around, reindeer hides on the benches for cushions, and it's a really well-made setup for a function.
Also in each area that we were, every store, every hardware store, they all were reindeer based as their main clientele, their main customer. So everywhere you walked into, you had your reindeer supplies readily available for whatever needs you had for whichever community you were in. The stores featured reindeer meat availability, fresh, frozen, different types of reindeer cuts, different packaging. So that was really awesome to see. I mean, you're just going in to buy food for the week and grab a couple packs of reindeer meat.
And well identified, well packaged. You know, the prices are, in my opinion, set very well for being able to be affordable for the whole country.
Yep, another impact that really made a difference on our type of thinking, to continue our type of thinking, was the amount of Sami women who were reindeer herders independently and within their family and with their family, and they really led the way for the next generation. I mean, everybody who was involved in a herding was from grandmothers, aunties, and uncles all the way down to like 10-month-old babies that are inside the corral during the herding process. And then showcasing at one of the museums is the Sami culture in such a beautiful form, from where they came from to where they are. This set of pictures here is a wilderness lodge run by a Sami individual, and it's just so well put together and so inspiring, the quality of tourism to come and experience winter and summertime tourism.
It's a world-class resort for sure. It's very nice.
Yeah. So could just easily see completely applicable ideas for here in Alaska, for Alaska Natives, pushing our culture, reindeer herding, and then everything else. But we're the ones in control of presenting what our culture means to us. So that was really awesome. And then being able to take the classes through High Latitude Range Management, just to begin to get an idea of what we are capable of as Alaska Natives, men, women, being able to push this, I mean, to the level of tourism like the video is showing right now. taking your reindeer and really utilizing in many different capacities, byproduct, tourism, food,
Education.
education. It's just
Absolutely.
not one option. So we did get to do a short trip to all through Finland.
You can pick on it.
This is just a quick sped up video of a drive just to show you some of the countryside. This is going east to a community called Spettigarvi. And we drove all the way out there to check out a hardware store because that's how awesome we are, and to eat lunch.
Maybe right on the border of Finland, Russia,
Mhm.
in the northern part of Finland. It's just beautiful up there.
Yep, and seeing herds of reindeer along the roadway, and just having an exciting time seeing the different terrains. So we were there in November, so this was about as light as it got, so that was a little bit of adjustment, and it's much higher in latitude than Alaska, so it was darker sooner.
Mhm.
And then just the different terrain that the herders deal with their reindeer as they're coming up with their herding management practices.
And so just driving along, you can be driving along this road, any of the roads in Finland, and you'll come across reindeer, and there's 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 reindeer standing there, and you come by and they kind of go off into the trees, and a half mile, mile later, you'll see some more. So they're literally everywhere. And reindeer are allowed to go everywhere within their cooperative fence limit, and their fence limits are huge. But anywhere in that fenced in area that is that family's cooperative, the reindeer are allowed to be anywhere on that land, which is it's amazing.
You have a question in the chat from Lori Thorpe. Is there trouble with poaching in Finland?
I think it's an issue, and if you're able to prove it, it is, you are able to have recompense from the government. But most people, I would say, are pretty mindful of reindeer owners, since it's been happening there for hundreds of years.
And I can add to that too, and I feel like it's they're all of these different cooperative families know each other, and so when any one of them has a roundup, the other families can show up and look for any of their deer that might have jumped the fence or might have gotten mixed in with the other family's cooperative. So that's the time to.
Is that, and I guess, is it okay to ask questions while you're, okay, so everybody know that they're willing to take questions as we go.
Yes.
So for the markings, so people know their animals, is that the same as we would have in Alaska?
Yeah, they have several different marking systems over there. They do ear notches, since that's the oldest form. And then one of the newer forms is a biodegradable paint that they paint onto their deer. So each family has a different style and a different location on the reindeer. And when they're doing a roundup, deciding which reindeer are going to be slaughtered, which reindeer are going to be castrated, which reindeer are going to be kept through the year, those deer are identified initially probably by the ear markings, and then painted, and then dealt with for whichever.
And my other question, because we're showing all this speedy driving, like I feel like I better buckle in. We hear about they paint reflective paint. Is that a thing?
I've heard of that
on the antlers. So when you're driving that fast and your headlights are on, you're gonna kind of light up the herd of reindeer. Is that?
I heard of the same study. We didn't see it ourselves, so I don't think it got past a study.
Or maybe you weren't at night.
Yeah, well, we were at night.
Oh, you were at night.
So we didn't see any. So I don't think it went beyond the actual study. But that's a pretty cool concept if it did continue. It wasn't too terrible at night when we were driving to see reindeer, especially when you realize reindeer are going to be on the road. You just keep your eyes open. Very similar for driving around Anchorage, Wasilla, Palmer area looking for moose.
You do see them, and they do cross the road.
We've seen quite a bit of foxes while we were there too, so that was really amazing.
And coming back from Norway, we were treated to an amazing show of Northern Lights. And, you know, just right out in the middle of nowhere, stop the car, get out, take a look. Really.
Yep. Absolutely. Very awesome experience. Oh yeah, we went to different parts of Finland. So this was the most east that we had gone to, the community of Spetjärvi, and there is a small community store out that way that we went and checked out to see what they offered for clothing, hardware. It's like an all-in-one, like take Clark and Hanson's and kind of smoosh it together, and it's all in one location. And then the other direction to the south that we went to was Rovaniemi. And that was pretty neat. We got to see how commercial tourism on a large scale functions there. And they have a Santa's Village, holiday village that takes place out there.
And just driving from Inari down through Avalo and then all the way over to Rovaniemi. We also had the opportunity to see other tourism opportunities that are out there. You know, you're driving along and you see different lodges that have reindeer sled tours, or you have, you know, what we plan to go back in the summertime to see all the summertime tourism activities that are over there as well. Fishing is huge, but you can see the lodges and the cabins and everything that is set up and dialed in towards tourism for people from all over the world to come enjoy the area.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then getting into Rovaniemi, the big gates for the
Arctic Circle,
Arctic Circle and the complete commercial Santa's Village,
yeah,
all of that.
there was about 4 large scale outfits in that location, and that was just really overwhelming. After everywhere we'd been prior to that, they were smaller, super professional, well built, amazing lodges and places, and then this was just in your face commercialism. It was really overwhelming at first, and then we could see the appeal after the days of the lights.
Oh yeah,
We got used to them. So
hundreds of kids running around and sleds and ice villages and trees and lights and Santa's
helpers.
And Santa's post office.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was quite an experience. And then also in Rovaniemi, we had a chance to go to the when we first got there, the Reindeer Herders.
The Reindeer Herders Association for
yes.
Finland, yep,
Finland.
and to see how they function and support the reindeer herders
Yeah.
for all of Finland.
Just a short meeting there. The information was truly
Overwhelming.
It really was.
They're completely supportive of
Yes.
any needs of the reindeer herders as a whole, meeting
Mhm.
whatever it is, you bring an issue to the Reindeer Herders Association, and they help you on behalf to approach the government to make changes. So it was incredible.
Yes.
Like, what are some of their burning topics for reindeer for the Reindeer
Resources.
Herders Association?
Resources are making use,
Land use. So somebody wants to build or something.
mining, all kinds of resources, things like that.
Yeah, the type of mining, you know,
That was one of
small
them.
scale versus open. pit
Is all
mining.
this private property, sort of like people have like a ranch kind of thing, or is it state land or?
Crown land. I would have to refer to Jackie. It's crown land.
I don't know what that means. Federal?
It's called Crown Land. It's government owned. So anybody, regardless of your nationality, you have, it's called equal rights to do anything on that land as long as you are walking or skiing. Anything without a motor, everybody has equal rights to berry picking, flowers, equal man's
Hunting?
rights laws. Hunting, you have to get your permit. It's similar to here where there's the different regions for permits.
Yeah, Jackie was completely invaluable. We would have been totally lost the entire time without Jackie's guidance. Having lived over there for 20+ years, it was an absolute treat to be there with Jackie for the days that we were. We super appreciate everything we got to take part of.
Oh, so grateful for the experience that you shared with us.
Yeah. It was a bucket list trip for sure, but we want it to continue. We want to bring other HLRM students other program students out of Northwest Campus, so that we can continue to have these cultural exchanges for reindeer herding.
That's huge important.
What would be some of the things you saw and learned over there that you would think would be very fitting for the Seward Peninsula? Because we do, how many reindeer herders have we got in the Bering Strait region?
We've got 22 ranges and 5
Okay.
active herders.
I'm ignorant of reindeer herding, so bear with me.
Yep.
Okay,
That's
so we have 22 in the Seward, in the Bering Strait region,
Mhm.
and that goes from Stebbins to Shish.
Mhm.
And the island, St. Lawrence Island, yeah.
Yep, yep, and then, so what we want to see here is all the grazing ranges become completely active again. And to be able to support reindeer herders to provide, in whatever capacity each herder would decide is how they want to use their reindeer. But if each reindeer herder were selling meat to the state of Alaska alone, we'd never be able to meet the needs of the state. That's how much demand there is for reindeer, which has been proven through the HLRM program that reindeer meat is such a good source of local.
The science is there.
Mhm.
And just another thing that we can bring over here as an example of things that we saw that we can implement over here, any of the reindeer herders who have reindeer tourism, tourism is a huge thing. This is just one small example of a really important time in the Nome area. They finished the Iditarod, you got a lot of visitors coming up here. And with tourism, you can add any number of things that we saw there, reindeer sleigh rides, you can.
Yeah, to whatever need whatever
Yep.
level a reindeer herder would want to participate in
Mhm.
tourism, they could make it work for them, and then that would bring in extra money to meet the costs of reindeer herding.
Yeah, and that would directly benefit, the local reindeer herder from this region. So I think that would be a huge thing. And also the value added items that are super popular around here.
Yep, and really impactful though was the Sami knowledge being integrated every day with the knowledge of sustainability, being a reindeer herder, and just their culture as a whole. It was everywhere. It was in every aspect of Finland, sustainability. It was really incredible to be in that environment. It was just normal. It wasn't really having to super fight for it. Everybody was very conscious of their actions and how the impact was on their community and on the land. It was really overwhelming a little bit, and especially thinking about coming back, the level of support they had as Sami, and they fought for it, and we're doing that here too. But just
Continue to.
being over there and seeing the level of support with Indigenous culture being integrated with everyday policy was incredible.
You guys got any questions?
Not so far.
Okay. Like, I do. Do you have any questions?
Well, this area that you've been watching in this video here, the Sami have fought for about the last 10 years that there will be no railroad in their traditional reindeer husbandry homelands. There is no railroad. They have also fought there will be no mining. There is no mining. They have also fought there will be no clear-cut logging. There is no clear-cut logging. And so all of those 3 examples I just gave, that's from roughly Inari northwards. So that is the specific Sami reindeer husbandry range, which is the longest history of reindeer husbandry in probably in the world. So it's the people.
Yes. Well, it's the people, and then it's the backing of with science, with academia to prove that these are very well used, established grazing areas for their reindeer, and we can do that with the HLRM program as a start, and to continue in a small area for Alaska Natives to prove our cultural usage of the land with sustainable practices that everybody can have access to a point where we're all getting equal rights. So it's
Mhm.
just, it was incredible just to see both everything come together, academia and cultural knowledge being married together and working together for rights of reindeer herders in this example, but we could see it everywhere.
And there's a question they have a person with their hand up in the chat. Okay, Charlie Lean, go ahead, Charlie. Glad you made it.
Yeah, sorry, I got lots of, got the whole family in town, so I'm splitting my attention, but great talk. It strikes me how wooded that country is, even though they're not giant trees, and how hard it would be to find a reindeer if you were out trying to herd the reindeer. And also the skins are very white, good cryptic coloring. I mean, they must have a different herding model than we.
Yes,
No.
really great observation. They for sure do have a different herding model. So their predators aren't as prevalent. They do have issues with wolverines, which are huge, but their reindeer, they could use bells on them. Whereas here, we've talked about it many times over, bells here in this region would just be a dinner bell for our huge bears that we have here. So they can go out there, and then they, because the deer are so are handled so many times a year, they're pretty used to people coming out. And some of the herding practices that we've seen, we're going to be implementing. We've been changing what we've been doing for the last 15 years. And it just was even more a deciding factor watching some of the herding practices over there to get our deer handled every day.
Yeah, from what we can tell, when the snow machines show up out there for the reindeer, you know, it's the cooperative in that particular area. So the reindeer see the snow machines and they know it means, because they bring them in with food. When they see the snow machines, they're not necessarily having to run away from rifles. It actually means these deer know that this is the people that are normally handling them.
Mhm.
And yeah, they have a well-established trail system. They got crash bars on their snow machines for rocks and limbs.
And actually what you
And-
can't see because of the speed of the videos a little bit is the gigantic boulders that are as big as houses all the way down to the size of a table. And so that makes for going out herding a little bit difficult too. So they have quite a lot of established trails for the snow machines.
Yeah, and they have to stick to them because after the glacier came through, it deposited all these round rocks everywhere and then speeded them.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine trying to get across that on a snow machine.
Yeah.
And they incorporate other things as well for herding their reindeer and. Yeah, lots of trees over.
And not very much wind. We were there for about 2 days and I was asking, when's the wind gonna start? Because we're so used to the wind here as everyday part of life. And everybody kind of looked at me and I'm like, what wind? This is
Wow.
You guys get to enjoy winter? But they're next to a lake, a massively huge lake, and then they have little lakes all from there. So they do get the really cold, bone chilling weather from the moisture of the lakes. So
I may have missed it because I was out when you started, but is this inland? Like, where are you in? Is this Finland or is this the Norway? This is Finland.
Northern Finland.
Northeastern.
So you're far from the coast,
Uh,
kind of
Heading
like
towards
Fairbanks.
the coast. If you kept on going, you'd pop into Norway and that's when you'd hit the
Fjords.
fjords.
So where it's so calm, how far from the coast are you? Kind of, sort of.
50 miles from
Yep.
up right now.
this would be a Norway region, right? So
Mhm.
I just had to look up a map, so I was like,
Yes,
Okay.
just beautiful.
we were right by Lake
breathtaking.
Inari.
Okay, cool.
Did you meet students, reindeer herding students, and what?
Yes,
Can you tell us about that, or did I miss it already?
it was at the beginning of the slide of the previous one. We'll probably run through that one again, just to have in the background. We initially met Sami students here in Alaska in 2013. And when we got back to when we got to go to Finland here in November, we got to meet many of the same people, students that we had met.
We'll get there.
You had spoken about how there's so strong support from the government for reindeer herding.
Mhm.
are you able to tie that in? How is the education connected, or what does the government do? How do they offer support if you're not a student, or if you are a student of reindeer husbandry?
So the reason that the government is so supportive is because of the Sami taking it upon themselves to become educated.
Yes.
And they created these awesome, amazing universities to be educated, to speak their voice in their government, to have their rights recognized. And so in dealing with that, I'm not sure at what point in time the Reindeer Herders Association was.
We get this on our screen.
It's right
Oh,
here.
it is.
This we can see it.
And you have a question in the chat about. From Lori Thorpe. What do you see as the biggest challenges, or did you answer that? What did you see as the biggest challenges for Alaska reindeer herders to overcome to bring the industry up to fully functional and sustainable, like in Finland and Norway?
So this kind of ties into what Jackie was just saying a little bit, is to be able to get to a level of education for ourselves as Alaska Native Indigenous herders, so that we can learn the language that is spoken by government entities, so that we can properly convey our needs to those government entities, because the government works for us. And just recognizing that in the first place, and then keeping our issues at the forefront so that they're being met. Right now, the best program for that is the High Latitude Range Management Program, to start that level of education, to get to the point where you can speak to different entities, different organizations, educational organizations, so that our voices are being heard through the different courses that we have here through HLRM. It teaches you the skills and gives you the confidence to convey what our needs are.
Interact,
Mhm.
yes. Back to your question, did we meet any reindeer herders over on our trip? And I don't know if you answered that one very well or no. So we did. We went to the Sami Education Institute, and that's where we met up with some of the students that came over to Alaska previously. And OT is who's running the,
That's not what you-
you know, anyway. They have at the Sami Education Institute, they have a fully government sanctioned slaughter facility there that we were able to go in and take a look at. So when you have a reindeer, you're a reindeer cooperative and you have a roundup and you need to process your deer, you can use this government sanctioned slaughter facility, and it is top of the line, completely clean, inspected, and you can go through this slaughter facility with your entire family, and everybody in the reindeer herding family has been trained to work in a slaughter facility, so everybody has the same knowledge. So this ties back again to reindeer herding and the education that is available to make reindeer husbandry a success. There's also a commercial tannery. There is tourism, guiding, hunting, fishing program at the same institute. We saw a fish skin processing facility that was up and running for the fishing industry. These are some of the pictures from the institute there. And we also did get to meet some of the up and coming reindeer herders. So
what was phenomenal was just asking them questions about their reindeer herding life compared to what I've grown up doing. Is they were just, it was so normal, like reindeer herding was every day for them since birth. And so my questions were just kind of not really silly, but they were still trying to understand where I was coming from, because even though we've been reindeer herders for as long as we have been, with the issues for support to be successful herders is a little bit different than their issues. And so they've been, their great grandparents were reindeer herders. And so they've just lived, eaten, breathed, going out with the reindeer on the range and having reindeer near their home and training reindeer for tourism, to be in a halter, to be in a harness, to have reindeer to help do work for them. So that was incredible. just
Yep.
to-
And those particular reindeer that have been trained, so the government recognizes reindeer in different levels. And if you put the effort into training one of your reindeer for a tourism, say it takes quite a bit of effort to train that reindeer, so it becomes more valuable if something were to happen to it. So I think that just ties in again to the level of support that is over there that we would love to see here, tying into Northwest Campus and learning about reindeer husbandry.
Somebody have any other questions? Interest?
I'm sorry, I got here late. Are you sure? Are you the granddaughter of Lawrence?
Yes.
Okay, that helps. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, so we do have a little bit of a table here too, if you guys want to come up and look at some of the things that we've collected over the years and that we brought back with us from Finland, from our experience, and some of the things that we're doing to promote reindeer herding on the Seward Peninsula. So we're really excited to keep the program for HLRM going, to recognize that to advocate for ourselves as Alaska Native reindeer herders, we have to be educated and really know what we're talking about. And the fact that HLRM really models itself with taking Alaska Native cultural knowledge with science, with academia, to bring it all together to really convey what our needs are and keep pushing it forward is huge across the board since the beginning of the High Latitude Range Management Program, so that we can speak for ourselves and what our needs are. And it was just totally inspiring to see an entire country and entire groups of people who span across several countries doing this for themselves for a very long time. That there is a really, really good chance for us to continue to be successful.
I know that high latitude program, this campus is very active with that, and I think they're talking about growing that. So do you have other herders from Savunga and all over come here for training and to all kind of get on the same page?
Yep, we do. Yep, we offer a certificate course and an occupational endorsement course.
And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Bruce once like the president of the Herders Association? I mean, wasn't he really active with that group?
Yep, so Lawrence Davis helped start the Reindeer Herders Association way back when, not way back when, but when it first began. And then my dad became president not too long after we came back to take over the Davis Reindeer Herd, and then keep going from there. And they were students of the HLRM program, and they graduated from that program.
They're the inspiration that got me into the program as well.
And I'm sorry.
Douglas Scheele.
This is my husband.
Well, since I know these two also, and since it's a fairly small group, may I introduce myself?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm Rick Spoor, and I'm the guy that has the Banner Creek property. And of course, I knew Bruce and Ann, and Bruce and I were actually closer than Ann and I, but I always thought it would be good, and really, my condolences. When he passed away, really, I was shocked, and then when she passed away, right away afterward, I was really, it was just really surprising, so our condolences. But I thought it would be a smart idea for me to call you up and introduce myself and maybe talk with you about that. I mean, with no formal relationship, but as you probably know, the reindeer, I never minded at all, when they would come down and go in the creek, and when they would go west, that's always fine with me. In fact, to me, there was nothing nicer than when the reindeer were on that property. So I just thought maybe I should introduce myself to you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, and you guys should probably talk it when we're finished, because we do have people online and it's coming up on 7:30. Does
Okay.
No, it's all good. It's all
Yeah.
good. Does anyone have any other questions, or do you have any other things?
No, I think we
Actually, I was
covered.
curious on that picture quickly. What
It's
is
reindeer
that in the
blood.
bottle?
That's
Half a
fine.
liter reindeer
Half
blood.
a liter of reindeer blood.
Oh,
It is.
perfect.
Blood sausage, maybe.
Yes.
It is.
I've been drinking.
Blood sausage.
So earlier we showed pictures of the Lavu, and they had the food lab set up. So they had a big celebration after the World Reindeer Herders Association meeting in Norway. So there was lots of people in there, and everything was reindeer. So some of the things that they were making in there, they had, with the reindeer blood, they had made a little piece of biscotti bread, and they had a little bit of this reindeer blood made into like a little pancake. And then they had I think it was a cucumber on top and an onion, something like that. Anyway, it was just a little delectable. It was absolutely amazing.
Was it?
That's just one thing that you can make with that.
When we see those pictures you were showing and the prices, what's it comparable to like the price of reindeer here? If you were to, because I don't know what the currency is,
The
but
currency is euros.
yeah, okay,
So roughly the same, within 50 cents, right? of-
Okay.
Of a US dollar,
all right,
so depending on the day's exchange.
okay.
So.
All right.
Very
Any
cool.
other questions or comments or anything you want to add, or?
I think I've hit about everything that I wanted to hit.
All
I'm sure
right.
Jackie has some more.
All right, well, then I want to thank everybody. I want to thank everybody for coming. And I do want to remind people that next week, it's a double header for Straight Science. Number one on the 22nd, which is a Wednesday. Let's hope that's true. We're going to have the United States Coast Guard talk about their plans this summer, which will include a community-based discussions, as well as culminating in a live drill here in the Bering Strait in June. And then on Thursday, everybody hold on to your hats. Right after the Coast Guard, it's Rick Toman. And not only that, but it's Rick Toman in person, and we will have this computer figured out by then, Rick. And so we are looking forward to having Rick Toman in the house at Northwest Campus to talk about a recap of our winter weather and what lies ahead for our spring and summer. So don't miss out on that. You'll be either in person or online for Rick. He'll be doing a hybrid, and it'll be online all the way with the US Coast Guard. Thank you very much. Put your kudos in. I see lots of good kudos coming in for the Bonnie and Doug's Scheele's presentation about their trip over to Norway and Finland. So we're really excited to see what the future holds for reindeer on the Seward Peninsula. And we're going to leave it to your guys' capable hands to bring them back and get them going here in Nome. Awesome. That was very interesting. All right. With that, thank you all so much for coming, and we'll see you later. Have a good night, everybody.